For someone who's done anime content on YouTube for over 10 years, and as someone who's been an anime fan for over 15 years, someone who's talked about anime online for like probably 2 decades at this point, I can't even remember. There is one thing you never do. You'd never say your opinion about shonen anime. You are inviting a war to happen in your replies. There is nothing more toxic than shonen anime fans arguing about shonen anime. If you want to stay out of the crossfire, just don't talk about shonen anime. Don't do it. It's not worth it. So what we're going to be doing today, we are going to be going through every big shonen anime, and we are going to be ranking them. We're going to be ranking every shonen anime, and we are going to be fully embracing this toxicity. We're going to be fully embracing this salt. I am going to be shit on. I'm going to be cancelled left, right, and center. Feelings are going to be hurt. Salt is going to be thrown, and by the end of this, I hope I'm still going to be alive by the time this video comes out. As a disclaimer, because I feel out of every tier list, this one is the one that needs the disclaimer the most. This is just all my personal opinions. I am not the shonen master. If you disagree with me, then you are simply wrong. Let's change up the rankings a bit because I like how mid in this ranking system is not even mid. If there is one word that the shonen fan base love to use, it is mid. Okay, it is fucking mid. Since every shonen show has at one point been called mid, I feel like that's how we should base the ranking system. So is it peak mid, above mid, mid, below mid, or bottom mid? So now when I call your favorite shonen mid, you can't throw shit at me, because every shonen is mid now. Yeah, that's true. Mid should be true mid. If anyone in the future comes in with a rating system for shonen shows that is not this, then that it's a completely inaccurate rating system. I'm actually going to add one more just for the shows that I haven't seen. Probably mid. Starting this off with Jojo Part 1. As we all know, I am a Jojo. I will say right now, I do not read the manga, so I am an anime-only Jojo fan. I know. Part 1, I don't know if I'm going to piss off Jojo fans or not. Part 1 is just true mid. So that doesn't mean I think it's bad. I hear people going to part 1 and being like, you know, part 1 was like getting castrated while being burned alive. That's how hard it was to get through part 1. It was only when part 2 started that I really started to like Jojo. But it's like, no. Part 1 was just okay. It was just okay. Then we get to part 2. What sells part 2 for me, even though I think stans are superior to Hamon in every way, I think the characters were just a lot more interesting. Young Joseph is my favorite Jojo so far. He just emits so much charisma. He made part 2 so fun to watch. I'm a bit sad that Joseph doesn't have more time to shine in future Jojo parts, right? I don't know what it is, but for some reason, 1, Jotaro just never ages. And number 2, Jotaro, like, he always gets like a prevalent part in the plot, it seems like, you know? He always gets time to shine. You see Joseph in part 3 and it's like, damn, what happened to you, Granddad? What happened to you? I think Joseph had one cool fight in part 3, but like every other time, he just felt like a comic relief character. I just don't think I'm as invested as other Jojo fans, like Connor. Moving on to Hunter x Hunter. Easily peak mid. That's a no-brainer. Hunter x Hunter isn't just for running for peak mid. Hunter x Hunter, to me, is one of the best shonen anime and manga series to exist. Easy. There's few shonen shows that can really compete with everything that Hunter x Hunter has achieved within its time frame. The only thing I would say I have against Hunter x Hunter is that I really wish that it ended with the arc before the Dark Continent arc. That was a perfect point to just end the series and just leave things off with just a nice clean ending. And the thing about the Dark Continent arc is that in terms of scale compared to the original run of the series, it's just blown everything out of the water. And I'm like, why would you do this? Like, we were already going at a snail's pace as it is. It's basically like you started off in the United Kingdom and then you introduce the entire continent of Europe and Asia on top of that, where we already just spent like 150 episodes just on one little continent. Hunter x Hunter at its peak is almost untouched. The York New arc is one of my favorite arcs in Shonen of all time. I don't think there is a single bad arc in Hunter x Hunter at all. The peaks in the Chimera Ant arc are fucking incredible, but there's also a lot of slow points in the Chimera Ant arc as well. York New to me is just pure concentrated S-tier shonen material. I was orgasming from like the first chapter to the last chapter of York New. To me, the spiders are the best group of villains in any shonen, and York New was where we really first get to see them shine. Moving on, Inuyasha. Inuyasha holds a special place in a lot of our hearts. It's a show that I'm sure many people have grown up with and many people look back at with a lot of good memories at. Having said that, I don't think it's aged well. I remember I tried to watch Inuyasha as an adult, I think about like 5 years ago. My God, is it a drag? It drags on for so long. It's hard to tell what is canon and what is filler because half of it seems like filler. I can't say that this is on the same level as Jojo Part 1 at all. Get your nostalgia glasses out of here. I'm only going to accept opinions about people who have seen Inuyasha within the past 5 years. Maybe the new seasons of anime were better, but my God, like the original OG Inuyasha anime has not aged well at all, in my opinion. It's below mid, guys. I feel like this is the first one that's really gonna get people angry. Are you ready to rustle some jimmies, guys? Are you ready to rustle some jimmies? My Hero Academia. Arguably the shonen show that reignited Shonen Jump's place after the big three. I remember when My Hero Academia came out, it was fantastic. It was great. It was everything I wanted in the shonen and it blew up. It had a tournament arc, it was great. And then after season 3 came out, you had the fantastic moment with All Might. And then everyone stopped talking about it. If it was 1, 2, and 3, the rankings would be a lot higher. If it was 4 and 5, the rankings would be a lot lower. Right now, when I look at My Hero Academia, I gotta go with gut feeling. Right now. That's what I think right now, okay? That's what I think right now. Because here's the thing. I don't know what your favorite fight or favorite moment in My Hero Academia is. I think this is actually going to be the bigger unpopular opinion. My favorite moment in My Hero Academia is actually All Might versus Nomu. That was when I was watching My Hero Academia with zero expectations. That was the moment that sold me on My Hero Academia. That was a fucking fantastic moment. And then I feel like in terms of the fights, it is just a lot less interesting than other shonens that are airing right now. I feel like a lot of My Hero Academia's strengths comes from its character writing. The character writings regarding the legacy of some of these heroes and all of the developments that they go through, especially season 4 and season 5 has just not caught my interest at all, okay? Because I feel like after you focused so much on the League of Villains and the legacy of all of these heroes, and then you go back to an arc about them going through an exam. I know, haha, can you not read? It's called My Hero Academia. Yes, it is called My Hero Academia. But when you introduce characters and stakes that seem to like go far beyond what's going on in high school, and then you go back to the high school, that's gonna feel like a step down. The most interesting part of the later seasons was Endeavor, and I found his character arc like way more interesting to see how he would fill the shoes of All Might and how he would handle that. Like, that was way more interesting than anything going on in school. And then you want me to care about a fucking high school concert going on compared to all of that? No, come on. Sorry, My Hero Academia fans, it is true mid. I will add an addendum because I have heard that season 6 and My Villains Academia is going to be incredible. If season 6 does fucking slap, as always, I will change my opinion. But right now, it's hard for me to care about it. It's okay, it's mid. It's okay, it's mid. That's what I was trying to say. All right, moving on. Dragon Ball. Okay, this is all of Dragon Ball. Oh no. God, give me strength for what I'm about to do. Okay. We're gonna need alcohol to get through this list, guys. Okay, let's start with Dragon Ball Z, because that's what I'm talking about here. Dragon Ball Z, one of the most important anime for me. I mean, if it wasn't for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, I probably wouldn't be an anime fan at all. Having said that, it is a very, very old show, and it set the standard for a lot of shonen anime and manga after it. And since then, I feel like shonen anime and manga has taken the benchmark that Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z has set. They have massively refined it, and improved it. It's made shonen anime and manga what it is, but I feel like shonen anime and manga nowadays is just in a league that is far beyond what the original Dragon Ball Z has done. It's got the same issue that a lot of anime shows back then had. Far too much filler. Things are too dragged out. A lot of people like it because of its legacy, because of how important it is for them as people, because of how big and influential this show was. I tried to get into Dragon Ball Super. I really did. I gave Dragon Ball Super 50 episodes, which is more episodes than I would give like any show at all. It just feels like compared to other shonens, it's just a lot less interesting. It's okay. Fuck. How can I say this? Like, I'm trying my best not to just say it's literally mid, but I watched 50 episodes and I didn't really feel anything watching 50 episodes. To me, Dragon Ball Super is the definition of mid-tier shonen. That is the benchmark for mid-tier shonen. It's not bad, it's just a complete by-the-book shonen. And another thing wrong with Dragon Ball Super is that the power scalings were just too off the scale for me to really even comprehend, right? Dragon Ball to me was most interesting in Dragon Ball. When it felt like it actually gave a shit about martial arts, to me, like, that's when I found Dragon Ball most interesting. Dragon Ball Z, amazing moments, had some absolutely amazing moments, but that was also dragged down by just how dragged out the fights were in Dragon Ball Z. And Dragon Ball Super to me feels like a 1990 shonen being aired in like the late 2000s. It really hit home for me. You know, you watch Dragon Ball Super. I remember when it was first airing, and I remember thinking, man, Goku's like already the most powerful person in the world. Okay, now he's the most powerful person in the galaxy. Now he's the most powerful person in the universe. Where are they gonna go there? There's no way to go, wait a minute. Wait a minute. The multiverse, that's the only place that they could go. How the fuck are they gonna top that? It's power scaling for the sake of power scaling. Maybe Dragon Ball as a whole would be higher if I was judging it based on something like Dragon Ball Kai. Even then, compared to some of the stuff coming out right now, compared to Jujutsu Kaisen, compared to Demon Slayer, Dragon Ball just isn't comparable, in my opinion. I can't wait to be torn apart by Dragon Ball fans. Holy shit. Slam Dunk. Are we judging this on anime or manga? For all future shows, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to judge the series on the best way that you can consume it. If it was based purely on anime, I don't think the anime is aged well at all. It is true mid. I would not be able to get through Slam Dunk as it is today as an anime. Matches that last like 9 episodes plus, you lose interest so much. And even when I was a new anime fan, because I watched Slam Dunk when I was a new anime fan, I was so close to dropping Slam Dunk. Having said that, I did go on and read the manga as well, and the manga is peak. It is peak sports anime, okay? I compared Dragon Ball to modern shonen battle anime, and I'd say I would not recommend Dragon Ball right now over other modern battle shonen anime or manga. Slam Dunk still stands up there with the best. It stands up there at the peak with the best of like all sports anime and manga. It's one of the sports manga that set the stage for sports manga, but unlike with modern shonen battle manga, modern shonen sports manga still stand on the same level or below Slam Dunk. And this is not only one of the best sports manga of all time, it's one of the best manga of all time in my opinion. The art is incredible, the character writing is incredible. It's one of the sports manga where you don't need fancy powers, you don't need some like Kuroko fucking beam shooting out of their hands. It has just got fantastic writing, and Joey said this before, but the absolute balls, if you don't know how this manga ends, I'm not gonna say what happens in the ending. The last chapter of this manga has 0 dialogue, and it is one of the greatest endings to like a shonen manga of all time. Moving on to Yu Yu Hakusho. Fuck, this is a hard one for me. This is a really hard one. This is hard. This is hard. This is hard. Is it peak or is it above? Is it peak or is it above? Ooh. Oh, it's hard. It's hard. This is really fucking hard, right? I don't want to judge it based on nostalgia. The anime, at least, is very old. Some of the animation has not aged the best, obviously. There are things that Yu Yu Hakusho has done that still stand at the top today. One of the biggest tropes in all of shonen anime and manga, the Dark Tournament is still the best tournament arc of all time. I also think it has some of the best villains of all time. Toguro is still an amazing fucking villain as well. The Chapter Black arcs is still absolutely fucking incredible. Yu Yu Hakusho has some of the best villains in Shounen, and that's just because Togashi is fucking incredible at writing villains. To me, Yu Yu Hakusho stands at a high above mid or a low peak mid. Ooh, it's hard. It's hard. I think I will keep it at above mid. The last arc of Yu Yu Hakusho isn't that great, and everything before the Dark Tournament arc is okay. Yu Yu Hakusho at its peak is still peak shonen. I'm gonna keep it at above mid. Jojo Part 6. So right now, I don't have too much of an opinion on Jojo Part 6. Only 13 episodes have been released by Netflix so far. It's an easy above mid. It remains to be seen if Pucci will be as good of a villain as some of the previous villains in Jojo. Like I said, I think Jojo, in terms of villains, they peaked with Kira. Based only on 13 episodes, Jojo Part 6 is above mid. It's good. It's good. Moving on to Jojo Part 3. Jojo Part 3 is probably the most iconic Jojo. There's a reason why Jotaro comes back constantly in every future part. I wouldn't have known about Jojo if it wasn't for Jojo Part 3, because I was one of the few people that actually watched the original OVAs of Jojo. Oh, I think it's mid. It stands on the level of My Hero Academia, Part 1 Jojo, and Dragon Ball. Jojo Part 3. If it was half the length that it was, it would be above mid. What I love about Jojo Part 3 is that it's just a road trip with the boys. By the end of the road trip, you're fucking crying about who lives and who dies because you're going to the end of this journey. Another thing that I think really stands out about Part 3 is that there are few characters in anime that emit final boss energy as much as Dio Part 3. Dio Part 3 is the epitome of final boss. When you see Dio in Cairo, he's been hyped up so much that you think there is nothing that could possibly meet the hype of the first time you meet Dio in Egypt. He completely encapsulates the hype. He completely meets it. And it's an excellent final fight, and it's an excellent final battle. But just the lead up to that battle is so long and is so dragged out. There are two things that really make Jojo Part 3 true mid. Number one, I feel like the stand powers weren't as interesting as stand powers in future parts, unfortunately. It feels like Araki was still feeling himself in terms of what to do with stands and stand powers. Some of the early stands just felt like very normal anime powers. They didn't feel like they were breaking your minds like in future parts. And the second thing, it felt way too Monster of the Week. And I feel like Monster of the Week format has not aged well at all. In future parts, it really felt more like every encounter felt more prevalent to an ongoing plot. A lot of Part 3 to me is forgettable. I think Part 2 is more memorable than Part 3, but I feel like Part 3 did really set the stage for future JoJo parts. That's why, to me, Part 3 is true mid for Shonen. And this is looking quite bad right now because I've got two JoJo parts in true mid. I'm being outed as a fake JoJo fan. Maybe I don't suck as much dick as you thought I did. I'm sorry, guys. On to Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a lot of people in chat saying this is peak. I don't know if that's nostalgia talking or not. A lot of people are invested in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's one of the shows they grew up in. But is it good? Would you seriously rewatch Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, unlike you guys, I have zero investment in Yu-Gi-Oh! I didn't get into Yu-Gi-Oh! During the Yu-Gi-Oh! Phase. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! is below mid, right? I guess I don't know how we can argue about this. As much criticism as I've given to My Hero Academia, Jojo, and Dragon Ball, I can't think of a moment in Yu-Gi-Oh! that rivals the peak of what Dragon Ball, Jojo, My Hero Academia has achieved. Dark Magician Girl? You're just saying that that's because that's like your first crush. That's your first waifu. Dark Magician Girl is everyone's first fucking waifu, along with like Misty from Pokemon. You ain't 12 anymore. Come on. One Piece. This one's easy. We are past the point of the era of the big three. I remember a point where people actually were arguing which one was better out of Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece. And One Piece has endured. Even now, it keeps getting better. We talk about shonen shows that have aged well and shonen manga that has aged well. One Piece's story has aged as it's gone on. I criticized My Hero Academia for its fights, and I've got to give the same criticism to One Piece. By far, my least favorite aspect about One Piece are the fights itself. To me, it doesn't matter. One Piece isn't just one of the greatest shonen manga of all time, if not the greatest shonen manga of all time. One Piece, to me, is one of my favorite pieces of fiction of all time. The level of world building and love that's been put into the One Piece, it is not just one of the best examples of world building we've seen in anime and manga, it is one of the best examples of world building we've seen, period. One Piece at its peak cannot be touched. There are some arcs that might not be as strong as other arcs, there might be some slower arcs, but I don't know how Oda has gone on for so long and it still feels like One Piece hasn't peaked. There have been so many amazing moments in this one manga, I can't even count all of the moments. It makes you hype, it makes you cry, it gives you all range of emotions in this one piece of manga. There's just something magical about the world of One Piece. And I feel like the biggest criticism people throw to One Piece fans praise it too much. I am that One Piece fan who can't stop praising One Piece. For someone listening to One Piece fans talk about One Piece out of context, it sounds like the weirdest fucking shit you probably ever heard, right? One Piece is peak. There's no other word I can use to describe One Piece other than peak, in every sense of the word. One Piece has left a legacy that will be remembered by anime and manga fans throughout the history of anime and the future of anime. It is going to be something that I feel people are going to look back on the same level as Dragon Ball and the other classics of anime and manga when it ends. The most amazing thing I think about One Piece is that it doesn't even seem like it's peaked yet. I think there's always an upswing that we can wait for. It blows my mind how any author can achieve that after going on for 1,000 chapters and like 20 odd years. One Piece is peak, and I'm not just gonna say that. One Piece is my favorite shonen manga of all time. Moving on to Haikyu. This one's hard. This one's hard. I think it's peak. Okay. Actually, no. Okay, I'm bringing it down. I'm remembering. Okay. It is very, very, very close to peak, in my opinion. It is like so close. Like, I didn't enjoy season 4 too much. Right now it's above mid. Depending on how it ends, it could be here. It could be here standing with Slam Dunk. It has that potential. Season 3 of Haikyu, that was peak shonen sports anime. Overall, from what I've seen, it is above mid. It is really, really, really fucking good. To me, it stands with Yu Yu Hakusho, where I want to put it in between above mid and peak mid. But right now, it is here. I don't want to add another tier, because then true mid wouldn't be true mid anymore. It basically does what every shonen sports anime should do, and just refines everything to like a hyper sharp point. Moving on to Norogami. Oh, God. If there's one thing I don't understand, it's how Norogami got so popular. To me, Norogami is mid. Bottom, definitely. Nah, it's not bottom. It's not bottom mid. Kuroko no Basket. Kuroko no Basket is above mid. It's above mid. I've really enjoyed Kuroko no Basket. Would I rewatch it? Probably not. It is so much fun for a sports anime. Is it as good as Haikyu? Hell no. It is definitely not as good as Haikyu. But is it mid? No, it's not mid. I feel like I have to make more tiers. Should I make more tiers? I guess we will add 2 more tiers. To me, it peaked with the Aomine match. Like, that first match was peak Kuroko, and that was the last time you really got truly surprised, like someone's ability and someone's power. And to me, I feel like that was also the last match that had like the last semblance of believability in the basketball like ability skills. Like, Aomine was ridiculously OP. He was OP to the point where you like maybe thought that this could exist in real life. But like after that, that's when the power scaling truly hit and Kuroko started to become literal superpowers. I think the character writing is less good than Slam Dunk and Haikyu, but I still think at its best, Kuroko is hype, and that's one thing that you can't say that Kuroko is not. Anyway, moving on to Medaka Box. Going by anime, Medaka Box would be true mid, maybe even below mid, going by anime. The anime did not adapt the points of the manga where it really had a chance to shine. Is it high or above? Medaka Box is a highly underrated shonen manga. If you didn't know, this is a shonen manga that is written by Nishio Isin. Did I pronounce that right? Who wrote the Monogatari series. The later stages of Medaka Box have some ideas that I don't really think have been explored in any other shonen manga, to my recollection. Breaks the mold so well. It does take a while to get to the good points. I mean, it takes so long that for the longest time, it's like true or below mid. Because the anime adapts what I feel are the weakest parts of the manga. But I feel like the peaks of the manga, it breaks the fourth wall so much. It's really, really meta. And like, I have a huge fucking boner for meta aspects in shows, especially if they're done well. So to me, I'm gonna put it as high mid. Shokugeki no Soma. This one's really hard. So this is Shokugeki no Soma season by season, okay? So it starts here, and then it just progressively gets worse. This is season 1 and 2, then season 3, and then whatever the like the absolute state of Shokugeki right now. Shokugeki no Soma fell off. If Shokugeki no Soma was 2 or 3 seasons, it would definitely be above mid. It ran into the problem of power scaling, where like the dishes in season 2 were already so fucking good, right? They were already so fucking good. At which point do you distinguish between 2 amazing dishes? As a reader, I'm like, both of these dishes look fucking incredible, okay? And like, it got to a point where Shokugeki no Soma, they won because one person used a single ingredient that was like a fraction of the way better than the other opponent. Gordon Ramsay would cream his pants over both of these dishes. There was a point when I couldn't distinguish which dish was the better dish, even when it was explained to me. That to me is when Shokugeki started to fall off, because that to me is when it started to become repetitive. Hajime no Ippo. This one's easily peak. It might even be better than Slam Dunk in my opinion. Maybe. It is definitely up there in contention for the greatest sports anime and manga of all time. Either anime or manga is fucking incredible. Not many people watch it nowadays because it came in an age before Kuroko and before Haikyu, before all of the boys in sports anime and manga were pretty. I feel like that's the biggest thing that puts people off, is that the guys, unfortunately, they aren't the pristine pretty boys like they are in Haikyu and Kuroko no Basket. Hajime no Ippo is untouched in terms of hype. I don't know how, but every new season, every time I read Hajime no Ippo, there always seems to be a point you think it reaches peak hype, and then it one-ups itself every time. Maybe the characters in Hajime no Ippo are just too Chad for other sports anime and manga to really appreciate. Seraph of the End. Yeah. 7 Deadly Sins. I'm just gonna rip off the band-aid. I'm gonna rip it off. Out of all of these shows, the one I've given the most chance to is 7 Deadly Sins. I've tried so fucking hard. I finished the first season and it took me 6 tries. It was almost my 7 Deadly Sins because it took me 6 tries to get through the entire first season. For the life of me, I cannot bring myself to watch the second season. With everything that I've put at below mid, I've watched or like read a decent amount of that manga. There was enough in that story to actually grip me and keep me watching, but I just don't like 7 Deadly Sins, okay? Even the good points, I don't even like the good points of 7 Deadly Sins. Apparently. Prince of Tennis. It's mid nowadays. I would not recommend Prince of Tennis nowadays. There are some good points in Prince of Tennis, but I do not think the anime would have aged well at all. It's true mid for me. The problem with Prince of Tennis is that it had a lot of the same problems as Kuroko without maintaining the hype. Kuroko no Basket had this point where the powers got ridiculous. It made me less invested in what was going on, but at least it was still hype. Prince of Tennis got so ridiculous that I stopped taking it seriously. I think the most famous scene that stands out to me is the Tezuka zone. One of my favorite scenes in all of sports, anime, and manga, but for the wrong reasons. To explain, this guy has this power. Anytime an opponent returns the ball to him, the ball will always go towards his zone of control. That's why it's called the Tezuka zone. The visual metaphors get so over the top that it starts off with the entire universe revolving around him, and it expands out to see like the solar system and the universe, that eventually, from what I remember, his tennis ball literally wiping out the dinosaurs. Let me see if I can find this. So he is the center of the fucking galaxy. Oh my god. Oh yeah, he started the Big Bang. He started the Big Bang. That's what happened. He starts the Big Bang. You know what? Watching that scene, maybe it deserves to be there. All right, Psyren. I fucking love the shit out of Psyren. Is it above mid or high mid? I don't know if it's nostalgia talking. I'm gonna put it above mid. I do think it is highly underrated. And I think the main character has a super unique power as well. His power kind of has a mind of its own, so he doesn't have full control over his power. How he has to try and control his power is to basically give it subroutines. And I remember reading Psyren when I was studying like C programming, C++, and I fucking loved it, that it basically just brought like programming into a shonen power-up. I thought that was fucking brilliant. I think the strongest aspect about this is the mystery aspect as well. The show, or the manga at least, gets less good when the mystery is solved. I do think that the last arc is definitely weaker, but that's because unfortunately it got cancelled. Psyren is a highly underrated manga. I think it definitely deserved to get a proper ending or proper time to do its ending, and that's why I think it's above mid. You definitely check out Psyren. Out of all of this, I think Medaka Box and Psyren are the most underrated shonen manga on this list. Moving on to Rurouni Kenshin. This one's kind of a sour spot for me. If you don't know what happened, the author of Rurouni Kenshin, he was exposed for some very awful things. I think Rurouni Kenshin is a fantastic shonen manga. The anime might have aged a bit in terms of its animation, but the manga still is incredible, even though I'm not going to reread it. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people who is able to easily separate the art from the artist when I'm reading something. From what I can remember, I'm not going to speak too much about this. Rurouni Kenshin is an incredible shonen. It is high mid. It is on the same level as something like Yu Hakusho for me. Anyway, moving on. Eyeshield 21. So Eyeshield 21, the anime, I think has aged badly. It definitely goes into the same problems as Slam Dunk in terms of its pacing issues with its matches and everything. The anime is true mid or below mid, but the manga, high mid. I think the manga, to me, just below Haikyu. Maybe even the same level as Haikyu. I think I prefer the character writing in Haikyu, but I think Murata's art is out of the fucking world in Eyeshield 21. And I'm not going to say the art carries it, because it's not. It doesn't carry it. Great fucking story to begin with. Murata elevates it to a level that is high mid, don't know if it's peak. It's definitely fucking up there. I'm gonna move Prince of Tennis back down to true mid. That was Prince of Tennis at its most ridiculous, and obviously we put it at peak because it was so ridiculous that it was awesome again. That's like every power in Eyeshield 21. It's so ridiculous that it just adds to the hype. It doesn't pretend that its powers are ever believable. It's never at a point that you think it's ridiculous, because everything is ridiculous. And so with that in mind, it is definitely up there as one of the best sports manga of all time. Maybe not at the same level as Slam Dunk and Hajime no Ippo, but it is damn close. Black Clover. If you remember when Black Clover came out, I think I called Black Clover the problem child of shonen because of how generic I thought it was. When Black Clover came out, everyone shit on it. Everyone compared it to fucking My Hero Academia, right? This was the point. All of the hype in shonen was with My Hero Academia. And then Black Clover came out and we were like, how can Black Clover exist in an era where My Hero Academia has just come out? It feels like a dated shonen that should have come out 5 to 10 years ago. It got shit on by every AniTuber, including me, that it was like the most generic, bottom tier, mid, even below mid shonen that could ever exist. So how unthinkable would it be if Black Clover was actually better than My Hero Academia? If someone would actually think that Black Clover, after all that it's been through, was actually better than My Hero Academia. I did it. It happened. It is. It is better than My Hero Academia. It is, okay? Black Clover keeps getting better. I don't know how Black Clover does it, but it is everything I basically love about shonen. The only reason it's not high mid is because I don't think it does enough new things in shonen anime and manga. That's the only thing I think stops it from being high mid. But I think in general, it is the best classic take on the shonen battle genre that is out right now. The hype just keeps getting better. I don't know how it keeps one-upping itself, but the one biggest thing I can say about Black Clover is that there never seems like there's any downtime. Air Gear. I'm gonna put this above mid. I feel like Air Gear is a very underrated shonen manga. Basically, it was rollerblading with rockets. Fire Force. Below mid. The only thing that would push it to true mid, to me, is the animation. Because Fire Force has incredible fucking animation. Right now, I am basing it entirely off the first season. To me, Fire Force feels like a mid-2000s shonen in a time where shonen has moved beyond that. I actually think Fire Force is worse than Soul Eater, which is the guy's previous work. The only thing that really gripped me about Fire Force was the pretty animation, and I didn't really feel like I was invested in the pretty animation anyway. Another thing that really pissed me off about Fire Force as well was Tamaki. She was the fan service character in an era where, at least nowadays, fan service seems like it doesn't get in the way of the plot. I'm a fucking degenerate, okay? I love fan service. What I hate is when fan service gets in the way of the plot or a serious moment. Demon Slayer. Oh, we're about to get salty, aren't we? Oh, okay. Demon Slayer, I am judging based purely on the anime. As much as people want to downplay Demon Slayer because of how popular it is, because of how much it's hyped up, I think Demon Slayer, the animation, it has some of the most beautiful looking scenes in shonen battle anime history. By how amazing the Entertainment District arc is, one of my favorite scenes in all of shonen battle anime is the ending of the spider fight. And the reason for that is maybe like I just overhyped it, maybe I'm just misremembering how good it was, and then I rewatched that scene for my new Demon Slayer anime video and I literally cried once again. It's one of the most unique climaxes to a shonen battle anime I've ever seen. It's something that I can't describe as hype, because a lot of the times you see the end of a battle and you see the end of a fight and it's like hype as hell. That scene was just so beautiful. It's just pure art. It's like the song, it's the way it's built up, the way it just immerses you into this one beautiful flowing moment. Talking about the scene, I'm literally just getting goosebumps talking about it. The beauty of that scene, it's on another level of any other scene I think I've seen in shonen battle anime. I kind of want to put a high mid just for that scene alone, Moving on, Jojo Part 4 is, I think, my second favorite part. I think it's high mid. I think it's high mid. My favorite parts of Jojo so far have been in Part 4. I'm just going to do Part 5 now. I think they're both high mid, but for different reasons. Part 4 and Part 5 are my favorite parts of Jojo so far. The reason I prefer them for different reasons is because I think, in general, Part 5, in general, is more consistent than Jojo Part 4. I think Jojo Part 4 had some slow moments in it. Depending on the episode, there were some episodes I really liked, and some episodes I didn't like a lot at all. So it was a bit of a hit and miss. But Jojo Part 5 was consistently just all great. Having said that, my favorite Jojo moments so far have come from the second parts of Part 4. Kira is such an enigma, right? Because Kira doesn't even feel like a Jojo villain. Kira feels like he was a character picked out of Death Note or Monster or something like that and just put into a Jojo part. It's so weird, but he's such an interesting character that he doesn't exactly carry it, but he adds such a different dimension to Jojo that we haven't seen before or since. Because the peaks of Part 4 were so good, even if I didn't enjoy the first half of Part 4 so much, I think it deserves high mid because it does contain my favorite Jojo parts. Part 5, just a consistently good show. I think Part 5 is when Araki, everything just really clicks together. That to me is just when Jojo is coherent and is consistent as well. Bleach. I've shit on Bleach so much, okay? So I'm gonna go against everything I said. This is completely nostalgia talking. This might be completely nostalgia talking. Maybe it's above mid. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. The more I think back on it fondly, and I don't know why, I'm really, really hyped for the new season of Bleach. That might be why. I'm really, really hyped for the new season of Bleach. I still think the Soul Society arc is one of my favorite shonen battle arcs, and I don't know if that's just like rose-tinted glasses. I'm totally not judging this fair, because if I was, then it'd probably be like below mid or something, because it fell off or whatever, because I do think that Bleach fell off. But I don't know. It has drip. It has attitude. Despite the problems with the plot, and despite the fact that I think that Soul Society was the peak of Bleach, and Hyukomundo was still very, very good Bleach, and it kind of fell off from there. It has left such a deep impression on everyone that's read it, and it still has left such a deep impression on me. I don't know why. Soul Eater is above mid, right? It's really good. This compared to Fire Force is a lot better. I feel like Soul Eater has much more interesting characters. It is kind of how I see Black Clover. I think the biggest problem with Soul Eater was actually watching the anime. It was when anime went through this phase, anime felt like it had to go through this anime original ending. So the ending doesn't follow the ending of the manga, which is the biggest point it had against it. Boruto. I've only seen like the first few arcs of Boruto, and it's just there, right? Has it gotten better? That's what I want to know. What's stopping it from being bottom? The anime has some amazing fights in it. Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki, that to me stands at the peak of shonen battle choreography. I fucking love that. I rewatch that fight every now and again. But I mean, it's, from what I've seen, it's just not good. It's just not good. They should have just let Naruto die.
Jojo's pretty mid.
What? Okay, Naruto. I've had an existential crisis on like where I would put Naruto. I'll be honest, guys. I don't know how much I like Naruto. Naruto is the anime that got me into anime, but at the same time, I feel like there is a lot that I don't like about Naruto that I'm forgetting. The Chunin exams, along with the Soul Society arc, is one of my favorite shonen battle anime arcs of all time. I think up to the Pain arc, like Naruto was great. I'm gonna try and justify it. Is it true mid? I don't believe Naruto is true mid. I'm trying not to look at this with nostalgia goggles like I am with Bleach. I think Naruto is still a really, really good, solid shonen. Has it aged well? I don't think. It's definitely at least above mid. Is it better than Black Clover and Jojo Part 2? Oh, neither seems right for me. It's not in the same caliber as those, but I think it's better than those. When I think about Naruto, I think about the 4th Ninja War arc, and I think about how dragged out that arc was. Because Naruto, I don't think, ended the strongest, I tend to think back to Naruto and don't think that it's the best. Anytime I think to some of the most iconic moments in shonen battle manga and anime that I can think of, a lot of them are Naruto. It belongs somewhere there. But because of nostalgia, I'll put it there. Dr. Stone. This is a solid above mid. I think it is just a solid show. It's a solid show. It's Dr. Stone, so of course it's solid. I think that it has good moments in it. I think that has some good ideas in it, but also it never really had a moment that really made me think that this was going above and beyond. Fairy Tail. I mean, this is it, right, guys? It's gotta be. Is there something worse on this list than Fairy Tail? Maybe Boruto, but at least Boruto had some good fights in it in the manga. God, maybe Boruto is below mid. I think it's only fair that if I'm putting Fairy Tail there, that I've got to put Boruto there. But to me, Fairy Tail and Boruto is about as bad as shonen can get, and that's why it's bottom mid. Okay, it's because a lot of these shows are held to such a high level of quality. If they're not really good, if the base level of bad shows in shonen battle manga is like mid, then that just says a lot about how good the quality is. And to me, these are the worst examples I can think of shonen battle manga. Bakuman. It's high mid. I really liked Bakuman. As a content creator, Bakuman means a fuck ton to me. Some of the philosophy that I found with making my own content, I've gotten from Bakuman. Was it like the director of like Shonen Jump or something? His line, it doesn't matter what your manga is about. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. It doesn't matter what your manga is about. It doesn't matter at all. All that matters is you make your manga interesting, and that's all that matters. That's what I think about when I approach my own content. And there's also like a second thing as well. The concept of you have authors in the Bakuman world that are pure geniuses, and you have authors in the Bakuman world which rely on data and trends and really try to build their story around the trends. And I've always related to that because as a content creator, I've seen people on both sides of the spectrum. I've seen content creators on YouTube that are just pure geniuses and just go with their gut feeling and create whatever they want, and whatever they create is fucking amazing. And I've seen people who make equally good content that have based their creative process around data, around what they can see is trending. And I've always related to the second side of things. I don't think I'm a pure genius when it comes to content creation, but I've always been someone who's taken my inspiration from the people around me, and I've tried to make the best content I can from that kind of approach. Content creation is obviously my job, and Bakuman has played a massive part in getting me inspired as an artist and as a content creator. So to me, it's high mid. Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm gonna keep this one short and simple. Season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen is above mid. I have a feeling it's going to be high mid when it gets to season 2. Right now, based purely on season 1, it's above mid. Season 1 is not peak shonen, guys. I don't want to say it's overhyped. Jujutsu Kaisen is the new kid on the block, you know, and everyone's hyping up this new kid on the block, where to me it's not done anything that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. My favorite fight of last year was the Hanami fight. I love the action direction of Jujutsu Kaisen, but it's above mid. Anyone that puts Jujutsu Kaisen high, mid, and beyond are manga readers. I'm gonna call that right now. I honestly think that if you put it high, mid, or above, you're probably a manga reader. If not, then I am genuinely curious why to you it's like high mid. We've only had one season out and it's been solid. It's been good. I've had fun with it. I have fun with Black Clover as well. That was my shonen tier list. That was me ranking every big shonen. Overall, I think I'm happy enough with this list. Like I said, I don't really care too much. I'm probably gonna get cancelled. This list is probably gonna get screenshotted, but I'm sticking with it. I am sticking with it. I'm ready for the salt, guys. I am ready for the fucking salt. Anyway, that has been the definitive shonen anime/manga tier list by me, the only person who's ever been objectively right about every single shonen series that has existed. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the like or subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. And hey, I also stream on Twitch on twitch.tv/gigark. That has been another tier list video. That has been another episode of me just shit talking anime, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.